Okay, so good morning, everyone. I have a question about the biomarkers. So when I click on a biomarker in Drives,
Yeah.
and then I have, okay, so now you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Can you see this?
It's coming. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So right here, receives from, decisiveness, what's that number 8?
It's
Like all of these have 8.
it's the number of threads. So the image is that it's like a rope, and you see threads, strength and reach on the left with the links quality. Technically, of course, it's not a rope. It's a resonance calculation across the different biomarkers. But what I call threads are in fact the number of different resonant frequencies that it has in common. So if you see 8 resonant frequencies, it means that a lot of information is going through between these two items because it has a lot of different frequencies that are moving together and that are reacting to each other. So it's
So they're all in resonant at 2.5 second.
yeah. I'm sorry. Someone is just spamming me on the phone. I will just have to take this 1 minute if you want to speak. Why? Yeah. Hello. Oui.
So anyway, these resonance here, I believe
C'était
that
ça?
what that is showing, because I.
Oui, d'accord. Vous appelez d'un 44. Oui.
So, and I believe the resonance up here is this. Right?
OK.
Okay.
OK, d'accord. Bon, et vous avez vu que l'ancienne était dans le coffre, hein?
To work out, and all of these are resonating at well, let's see. I'll just click on one.
Ouais.
Yeah, see, they're all resonating at 2.5 seconds. And then that's how these are associated
Bah, ça m'étonnerait qu'elle marche pas. Elle a que 4 ans, donc
here to there.
c'est la batterie d'origine, mais la voiture, elle a que 4 ans, hein, donc 4 ans pour une batterie, ça me paraît vraiment pas beaucoup. Mais bon. Ah bon? Ah bon? Bon, bah, dans ce cas-là, récupérez-la et remettez-la au recyclage. Ouais. Oui, elle est neuve, celle-là. Ouais. Ouais. OK. Bon, je suis en plein webinaire, en fait, je suis désolé. C'est pas moi qui vous ai apporté la voiture, c'est mon collaborateur.
Click on that one.
Ouais.
So this one is resonating that one.
OK, ça marche. Vous voulez dire, vous avez fini la voiture, c'est ça?
Startled.
Ouais.
So this is.
OK. Et donc les alertes, c'était peut-être lié au fait qu'il avait une planche sur la voie rapide et que les capteurs étaient un peu enfoncés ou un truc dans le genre? Non? Ah OK, d'accord, impec. Très bien. OK, impec. Merci. Au revoir.
Okay, so this right here, this tells me the way these two are communicating. It's this one is bringing this one up.
Okay, sorry, I'm back.
Okay, so it's actually, so me inside emotions is working on, oh no, I'm sorry, that bar goes over. So it's number 2.
So you have to click on the second one to see, either you click on the first one with the red or this one. Yes, of course, you can click on this.
So.
And maybe you have to scroll. You have to scroll up. Oh, that's not very convenient. Scroll up because you are down in the list. So you are probably have to scroll up to see what you have clicked on.
Okay.
Scroll up to the top.
For 2.
Scroll to the
Keep
top.
going up.
Yes, scroll to the top because you see there are 2 scroll bars on the right, which is a bit silly, but so if you can just scroll right to the top of this list. Yes, and now you see what you are clicking on.
Okay, so I'm clicking there.
Yes, so there is a link between either euphoria or depression, and if you click on me outside emotions, so yes, this one. The link is going to decisiveness and startled, as you can see. So if you click on decisiveness, you will see a link with euphoria. So if you click on the decisiveness biomarker,
The
the flower, the decisive
The
flower.
Okay, so me outside, really what I'm looking at is I'm trying to wrap my head around the red bars, because if you, so here's me inside, me outside emotion. Okay, so these are going to the top. So what's happening is these two and this one are supporting this motion, which is decisiveness. So they're pumping up decisiveness, right?
Yes.
Decisiveness, the bar below decisiveness, right? How the bar is,
Startled.
yeah, it's startled, right? And then so I click on startled and it's 4.5 seconds, right? But if I go back and look at, okay, see, so all of these with the same links. That's how I try to dial in. It's easier. I didn't realize that these were showing the resonance 8, but if I click on lack of trust, see, they're all the same, so they all resonate. Really what I'm trying to do with this particular, with my practice, and this is just theory, I may be wrong, it's just my perspective. I won't say wrong, but what I really am trying to do is not second guess biocoherence. I'm trying to look at the deeper links, find the deeper links,
Yeah.
because this is 4.5 seconds, right? But if
Yes.
we go here and we click on this one again, okay, and so it's depression. When I click on that one,
It's
okay,
depression is the one on the bottom, but the links seems to come from the top.
yeah,
So scroll up again to see everything. Yeah. Okay. So euphoria. Click on euphoria.
yeah. See, this is 2.5 seconds. So really, what's happening is the red bars are pumping up. Uh, they're pumping up euphoria, right? But deeper trauma, right? Oh, that's right. It's right here. Is this one, depression?
Yeah.
Cycles longer. See, so it's less than 2. I'm looking for cycles that are per minute that are less than 2. And I'm not trying to second guess biocoherence. I trust its analysis.
Okay, so one answer is that the links on the right are not directly related to the main cycles. It's an analysis of the different resonance points, but not necessarily the main cycle. So you might find a different information and a different reading when correlating the links on the right to the cycle length. What you are missing probably, and I was thinking about that yesterday, is that maybe I should add an option to add another information on top of the flowers, for instance, in one of the corners of the flowers. And maybe for you, I would add a checkbox to say, show the main cycle besides the flower, so that you can have all the main cycles in one go on the screen. And I'm sure you would love it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
And so
I'm okay. Go ahead.
yeah, so my idea would be to add a new option in the settings that would be for all your biomarkers. You could either add the main cycle or add the attention, the intention, or the horizon. So just checking what additional information you want to see, and when you have a list of biomarkers, you would have this information everywhere. So
yeah. Wow. Yeah. You caught my concept. Yeah. What I'm going to do right now is click on emotional instability, and this one, see, it's the same. So all of these are resonating, and then this has 2, right? So now I can see.
but you can click on main cycle. If you click on the main cycle icon, where it shows 33 cycles here, click on main cycle, just on your right. Click on it. Yeah.
Oh,
And it will show you additional cycles, up to 4 additional cycles, depending on what you have. So you might also see some information. It will by default, it will show you the most powerful cycle. But we might have some subcycles because it's a complex waveform, of course. So it might show you up to 4 different cycles.
Okay. Yeah, I've noticed that before. I wasn't quite sure what alt cycle meant. I was just looking at the cycles per second.
Yeah, the first one is the strongest one, so the one with the strongest resonance. It's really a frequency analysis of the second order. So it's a frequency analysis of the biomarker evolution across the recording. And the main cycle is the strongest one. The alt cycle is the second strongest one.
Okay. Well, as I go through this is like I say, and then from this point, and I've been doing a lot of research. You've just added some more information that will make it easier. And then from here, and I have to write them down, right? I can't really list them. How I could list, well, I'll just click on this one. Like these right here, how, other than a screen capture and then, pasting them into like a paint program or something, a graphics program. And then that way I've got them all written down. I'm just trying to save myself instead of writing all this out, which is what I have to do now. Once I have all this right, and then I light up, I check the cycles, then I go when I'm ready to do the harmonic boost, or I always end up at the harmonic boost.
Yeah.
And then because that way I can manipulate the protocols, right?
Yeah.
And then so I go into harmonic boost. And then I look for these protocols, right? And I look, okay, well, which ones are, I haven't quite figured out all the TCM recipes or, traditional Chinese medicine.
This one particularly are Ayurveda.
Oh, Ayurveda. Okay, so
yeah.
Ayurveda is good. Okay, but so
it comes from a theory. It comes from a theory in Ayurveda where you have subdoshas and then group of subdoshas that gives you a group of organs. So this is why we included it.
So I look at vagus nerves. While it doesn't have a stimulus, thanks to Jeff's external information, I'll just go here, right? And then, okay, so it doesn't have anything, but it says it has 164 frequencies, right? So
let me maybe just explain what these different folders are, if you want. So if you stay here, you have come again to add stimulus on the vagus nerve. Just so that it's clear for you. So this one is a TCM recipe. So it's a structure made of different acupuncture points, and you can embed frequencies on top of it, of course. So the first one, yes. So all of these are different keywords, except the first 3 ones. So in program will show you what you have selected. And the second one, team, would be an automatic selection of different stimuli according to the current selection. But as this selection is a TCM recipe, I'm not sure the theme would work in this case. So that's probably why it's at 0. Then frequency is a list of stimuli that contain at least one common frequency with the structure that you are working on. So choosing a stimulus from the frequency list might give you some items that are related via resonance to the structure. So it might be an interesting way of picking things, but it's not a recommendation per se. It's just a list, a static list of stimuli that have common frequencies with the current biomarker. Then you have this scan, and this scan, sorry, if you have a question? Yeah?
No, go ahead.
No, okay, so this scan, now you start seeing some impacts on the right, okay? Because this one are computed according to their stated effects and the measured state of your explorations after your scan. So this one are ordered from high impact to medium impact and down to low impact. Okay.
We found an unknown.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
You see where
well,
crack
maybe the unknown, I should click on it because I'm unknown, but right now, all of these right here,
Yeah.
like fractures, athrology, earth res, and
brown.
yeah, the crown center, all of these are, I would select any one of these, right?
You can put as many as you want, as much as you want, as many.
Crown center,
yeah.
catch that one, Dan.
Yeah,
That one
that one.
will help with the vagus nerve. And it's because it's the hearing one.
Mhm.
And it's different than the other ones. I don't know what the difference is. I just know that there is. Medrick, can you explain?
Yeah, so what you are currently doing, when you play the harmonic boost, you will play the structure frequencies of the vagus nerve stimulation. As this is a TCM recipe, it means it will play the different frequencies that will activate the acupuncture points that are linked to this TCM recipe, okay? So if you play only the white one, the structure, it will only activate your acupuncture points, which is already very good on a therapeutic point of view. But what you are doing as a pro is you are adding some stimuli, and this stimuli will add some additional frequencies that are not in themselves in the structure. So it's not one of the acupuncture points, it's additional frequencies that will be carried by the structure frequencies to have one specific effect. So for instance, this stimulus that you added is set to activate the crown center. And if you want to know more, you can get probably some information. Well, if we had some information, it would be written under. So maybe we have to add some information about this one. You can see on the left, there is a little ear, and the little ear means that it's a binaural beat. So crown center is a binaural beat, say to, I say it by random, 7 hertz. It means that if you have in the vagus nerve stimulation a frequency, for instance, 400 hertz, it will play this frequency at 400 hertz. That will make your vagus nerve vibrate through the acupuncture points. And it will add a 7 hertz binaural beat on top of it that will be carried up to the vagus nerve, and that will have the effect to stimulate your crown center. So that's what you do when you add some stimuli. It will make the physical structure vibrate and add a message on top of it to drive it to a certain point. If you want to add earth resonance, for instance, and awakening of mixed chakras, you can add as many stimuli as you want, because it will just make the program longer and make the stimuli one after the other in your program.
Well, the 7 hertz that you were talking about, earth resonance isn't that the 7.83? So it would still be
Very probably. It's very probably one of the Schumann resonances. And you can see it's a binaural beat because it has a little ear. So it will probably create a binaural beat between the base frequencies of your structure and the binaural beat that we want to achieve. Yes, Jeff?
Well, that's
I would have Dan, as you go through all this too, then because we're obviously, vagus nerves being compromised, but then you really need to go look at inflammation, because the inflammation that is there is the blockage. So that's why the flow isn't there. So if you look at the Chinese medicine, then again in the acupuncture points, there's a blockage in your neck probably, or from the crown in there somewhere, and that's what needs to be cleared out. That inflammation needs to settle down. And I mean, you could use mag oil or stuff like that to help soften, but the nerve sheath is swollen. So looking at nerves, looking at inflammation, on top of the fact that we know it's affecting the nervous system coming down from the skull into your spine.
So it's very good that we say that, because it's a perfect lead to the rest of the presentation of the structural resonances, because we will try and find all what you said right now. So one thing you can do is, Dan, if you want to click on the title structural resonances, you see there is 2 little arrows on the title on top. No, scroll, yes. Go a little bit up on structural resonances. Yes, and click on this. You see, and now you have it full screen, which is better. And you see the rest of the different folders, which are body support, emotional support, diseases, meditation. So that's on top of this list. So you are currently on this scan, which are the recommended items that could be helpful for this scan. But then you can search in, I don't know how many we have, but maybe 4,000 now, something like that.
Post-operation.
And you can go on post-op, for instance.
Well,
Click-
yeah, no, I was just, it is inflammation. And
Yeah, so click on post-op and see.
Sure.
Click on post-op
Yeah, no,
preparation and see what's going here.
See, brain abscess.
So if you like it, you can just click on plus.
Yeah, I just, well, arnica, I have arnica just by itself, DNA repair.
Okay, so this one has reverse impact. It means that all the biomarkers that are usually linked to DNA repair, for instance, are not currently in need of anything. So if you see reverse impact, it usually means that you don't need this particular program. But you are the expert. So if you say, okay, the system says that, but I am the expert and I feel I need it, just take it. Okay? It's a machine. You are the expert.
Yep.
Laura?
What did you say, Laura?
I've had that happen before where they said it's a reverse impact and I said, I don't care. I want you to do it anyway. And it helped.
And you are right. And you are right, because all of this is a gigantic algorithm, but it's not an expert. You are the expert.
And the one thing that really with, acupuncture really works is, I was getting pretty stiff and sore when I finally, was able to go. I mean, I could have went anytime, but I was waiting for insurance to kick in and get the appointment. And the first two acupuncture sessions I had, one was just straight acupuncture following this massage, but all she did was stick needles in and around my spine and in my neck. She put needles in other places to take the pain away, but she just that's all the acupuncturist focused was inflammation and swelling around my spine. Of course, I didn't realize it was the vagus nerve, but you know, the other thing is like edema and swelling. I'm going to do them
Yeah,
because that's
just
really
add them. But remember, you are currently adding some stimuli on top of this particular program. So it will be driven mostly to the program vagus nerve stimulation, which is fine in your case. But maybe at some point you want to add some stimuli on another program. If this is the case, you have to remember to change the current program, because all the stimuli you put here will be driven towards the structure, this particular structure.
so. But then, and going forward, if I want to change up on that, I just remove them from the structure, right?
No,
Is that-
you can just change structure and click on add stimuli and add new stimuli on another structure if you want. But you can also add all of the stimuli on this structure if you want. That's fine.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, I'm just looking in here, for body support.
So all of these are categories where you can see some evaluation on the right, but you can also search by keyword, of course, if you want, or you can just browse the different categories. But remember, we have
Maybe searching for inflammation.
But that one with the crown thing, that will help you, Dan. I don't think you need to do anything more.
Okay. Okay, well, I was just gonna do a search, but this is really what I do when I look for I never really focused in on this right here. That's really what I'm doing is when I look at the analysis, the scan analysis,
Yeah.
and then, like I say, I look for the ones that have, you know, it's a longer wave, right? Because it's like maybe the cycle is maybe 35 seconds, right? Or I'm happy if it's over 35, right? That tells me that's the deep one. And then I isolate that one. I look at the causal chain to see where it sends to and receives from. Now that the 8 number for threads, that's very helpful. And then I write that down. And then I also, well, I write down the longest cycle I find. I like to go less cycles per minute, but whatever it might be, 4 cycles a minute. It just depends which is the longest. And then I look at the associated resonant frequencies. I'm going to get out of this. Okay. And then and then I've got those I write down, and then I look. Okay. And, obviously this is me, right? But I look, for the client, I'm looking to see, okay, well, it's really, I'm dealing with emotional, other than if it's physical injury. Yes, I have other characteristics I have to look for, but I always try to start with the emotion because, even though you have a trauma, that's a physical trauma, right? The biggest part that you have to overcome, from my perspective, is you have to find the emotional anchor that's holding it. And then from there, I either strengthen the lacking emotional icon in drives, or I go and look and say, well, okay, so these 3 or these 2 in red are pumping up the constructive side, so that the constructive side, it keeps the lower on the destructive side, it keeps that where it's at, right? So it's kind of I have to use my intuition and go, okay, do I want to pump up the destructive side? No, I've got red biomarkers going to the constructive side. So that's telling me I need to pump up the constructive side. So then I will look and see what things I feel from my knowledge of what I understand about the program. And then I click on those back in the the stimulus, right? Like, okay, I'm just going to click on this one, benevolence, right?
Can I
And
ask
then
you something?
please do.
You do all the numbers, and I love that. Like your brain, I enjoy how the men in this group all are very mathematical. But part of what I'm wondering is if you're doing all of this emotional, like you're going into it and you're really trying to figure it out, like, is that why you got hit too? Is because like sometimes when we work on something too hard, right? Like something will like slow us down, like just slow down and just like let this naturally happen. The way that biocoherence is set up is to go in easy and smooth so that we don't go like too hard too fast. And I'm just wondering if maybe like your brain is, you're so intelligent, you're trying to figure yourself out, you might be just going a little bit too fast and maybe just slow down a little bit, maybe.
Well, no, I agree. I really honestly believe that I manifested this rear end accident. Um, I was dealing with insurance companies, and it wasn't the insurance company. Yeah, it was attached to my Honda, my vehicle, but it wasn't the insurance company that I'm dealing with now for the rear end. And, in the past, 2.5 years, 3 years, my car has been rear-ended twice and backed into once. And in all cases, it stems from my frustration with insurance. And the day it happened was September 9th, 2025, 999, the portal. And I had just come from maintenance upkeep on my Honda, right? Going home because that car was supposed to last me till I tip over. That's why I was keeping it up. I'm 2013, but all maintenance on it, brand new tires, and I believe that I manifested it because the situation that we were in, while there was congestion, we were going through school zones. So the speed shouldn't have been any more than 25 or 20 miles an hour. And I got hit bam by a really solid, heavy, fully electric vehicle, in a 20-mile-an-hour zone. And the first rear ending I got was by a hybrid Prius. And yeah, that just messed up the hatchback. Well, the second rear ended, it totally collapsed. You couldn't see the damage on the outside, but it really smacked me. I mean, 20 miles an hour in a school zone shouldn't have been that big of a deal, but the vehicle and everything.
Remember, something's trying to tell you to slow down.
Yeah.
The beat,
Yeah.
right now, but eventually they're not going to be gentle.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think Laura's talking about something else. I think Laura's talking about us trying to analyze everything,
yeah.
right?
That's
Saying
what I'm
Laura,
doing.
maybe.
yeah, come into your heart.
Yeah.
You're important,
Yeah,
Dan.
That's a hard one for me.
Don't say
It's
that.
got lots of
Duke Ellington had a saying. He said, "Don't push, let it fall." It's
Thank
an image that I like.
Yeah, well, I've got the vertigo and there's no pushing. There's a lot of falling.
In your energy field, though, you're trying to figure out why it's falling.
Yes, well, the thing is, and this is what really I've been working hard on my chakras and my ground, my planes. Um,
And like I appreciate all of the knowledge because you've helped me a lot in understanding um the mind part.
mhm.
But just maybe just slow down and give yourself some grace and some
Yeah,
love.
no, I mean, look at this. This shows I've been working on my chakras. I mean, the meditation and stuff and
Your screen is not shared. If you want to share something on your screen, you have to share your screen again.
oh, I'm not sharing. I didn't realize that. Sorry. Okay, so, you know,
See, it looks like you're going ahead, not behind. You're getting hit
Mhm.
from behind, but it might be in the behind that you're not looking at. You're looking at your forward. Because go to the planes. Yeah.
mhm.
See how far ahead you are?
Well, I'm ahead right here. This is my mental, not my crown, but this is, yeah, in the head. I'm ahead there, right? And then this is my yin yang for my body balance, which is off. I can tell that. So, uh, well, I just click on it and you can see what it is. See, it's,
You're not out your past. You haven't worked out your past. You haven't worked out your future. You're like afraid of what's to come.
oh yeah, yeah, I'm very, I've always, well, certain, growing up the way I grew up, and don't get me wrong, I've always had this, a higher intellect, but, yeah, growing up, it was really hard. And then we didn't have much,
It's
and
not from behind. Listen to what I'm saying. It's not your past that's causing this. It's your unknown of your future that's causing this.
yes, and it
You-
starting the trauma started there. It is in the past, but that is my perspective.
But you keep looking backwards rather than understanding that it's right here, right now. Just enjoy what's here right now, right now. Like being in the moment. And then because you keep pushing out into the future, but you're being reminded that it's not from behind. Does that make sense at all?
It makes a lot of sense, and
Just fun.
I,
I'm just
I'm not trying to bite you, and I was really trying to, uh, a path that I'm working on. Not just biocoherence and not just fractal field, there are so many things coming at me right now that it's, besides this accident, there's so many things coming at me right now for my future. It's like, oh my gosh, which one do I pick? So I am really looking at the future, you know, but you're right. I'm anchoring it to the past because that's my blinders, I guess. So I need to change that.
the only just try this. Just for like the next hour. Just try and be like present right where you are right here, right now, just for an hour at a time. Be right here, right now. Because you're at your home, you're safe. You're with us. We all care about you. And you're doing this and you're safe. You're all good. Nothing bad is happening. And just keep reminding yourself that you're right here, right now, and you're safe and enjoying the moment, enjoying just this moment. Not thinking about back there or there, but right here, right now. Because all we have is right here, right now.
I
Yeah. I'm going to send you love, Dan. Will you receive it?
yes, I'm receiving. Hungry.
It's right here, right now.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I mean, I'm not leaving, but I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I was just.
Maybe just because you are here, maybe click on clock on the top.
On what?
Clock, the clock on the top left, on the bottom left. Okay, so it's pretty good. This everybody knows the screen. It shows meridian clocks, but in red it shows the time of the recording. So if you are on your current rhythm, the biggest one should be the red, which is pretty good. And if the biggest one is not the red, it means that you are somehow shifted between your current clock and where your energy currently resides.
Well, you know, this is when I can't do my morning routine. This time of day is usually when I sneak away and go put my feet in the sound or, you know, do some form of earthing and meditation. And then this time in the morning between, you know, it doesn't matter what time I go to bed. This time of the I'm up between this time frame right here.
Yeah,
every
and
day.
this is a very energetic part of you, so it makes sense.
So, you know, like, okay, so momentums.
And
This I've
click-
been finding, I've been looking at this too,
Yeah.
other than moods. The thing with moods is,
click on the first momentum just to see, because you have a very strong restraint. Click on the first one.
this one?
Yeah. Geopathic stress. Interesting. So maybe you want to work with that in your harmonic boost too. So I would say just add it to your harmonic boost with the plus, because you might need to work on the geopathic stress. And if you want to add some specifics, you can click on frequencies on the bottom to directly enter the stimulus catalog. And then you can start searching for things that speak to you if you want.
Well, you know, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Laura. Thank you, Medrick and Jeff and Frederick. You know, what's happened now is, and I'm present, I'm in the moment, and I'm looking at, well, you know, because of over analyzing, maybe what I was trying to, my perspective is, I think I need to, in the present moment, go back over my notes.
Yeah.
Because maybe this is going to shift my, my talk at the summit and at the fractal field, because I'm giving talks in both places.
So remember, all you guys who are traveling from the States over there, to get rid of your jet lag and feeling weird when you get there, make sure you take your shoes off and go barefoot and get grounded for a minimum of 20 minutes to maybe 40 minutes. It'll really make a huge difference for you. And even if there's any water anywhere where you could put your feet actually in a spring or in a creek or something, it'll even go faster. You know, so
It's a beautiful stream right behind the hotel. Well, that's where we went right upon arriving.
Yeah, it's really in the nature. There is a very big meadow in front of it. So enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, grounding fixes so much of that travel stuff, but I always tell my kids when you travel and then they forget to do it. And I go, you know, they'll go stand at the beach with their shoes on and they won't go in the water or go barefoot. And I go, what's the matter with you? You need to do that. You'll feel so much better. And it gets rid of that dizziness and that nausea and stuff that you get. So grounding is a wonderful thing to help for inflammation and for that vibe of being so far off the ground in the airplane for so long. So I wish you all, a really wonderful, safe journey and an incredible conference. And I wish I could be joining you also, but I'll be watching.
Yeah.
Good. You can join in your heart and mind.
Yes, absolutely.
It will be a great time. We do, as I said last week, we do another one for our French users in June. So maybe if any of you want to come to France in June, we can organize something. It would be in the very beginning of June. So it's very far away, and we didn't decide yet to do anything in English or anything. But it can be an open conversation in the coming months. And if you ever want to come to France at this point, we could maybe organize something for BioCoherence in the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thank you, everybody. Yes, please.
I'd just like to say so my presentation, I mean, pretty much I just did highlight points, but is there anything that anybody could suggest that, that I'm lacking or over controlling or something like that? Because this was kind of my second dry run. Yesterday, Medrick had to fix my dash lines.
Well,
So,
you know what Laura said, Dan, what I'm feeling is something that I had to deal with when I went through some difficult times is your relationship with uncertainty. Sometimes surrendering to what's happening, not knowing what's going on, not trying to understand why, but being able to be present in uncertainty. It's kind of like a koan to think about that. And, you've analyzed, you're figuring everything out and you're trying to get the clear answer, which I relate to because my brain works like that too. Until you hit a wall and you just can't figure it out. And then you just have to be in the moment of uncertainty. And when you are, things start to come at you flowing that you might not have thought of. So embracing uncertainty may be something you want to think about and maybe add that in to your presentation that you're uncertain about uncertainty. See where that leads.
okay. Thank you, Frederick.
Yeah.
I guess because I'm analytical and what the software is working on is it's software. It is the emotional characteristics of the programmer, but it's still mathematics. And, that's kind of a hang up for males because, we're pretty strong in math. So I was using math to, not second guess the program, but add to it. So,
Yeah, but uncertainty, being with uncertainty implies trusting yourself, being confident that whatever comes at you, you have the resources to manage it. It's kind of like, I think of it sometimes like running across a stream from rock to rock. You don't know exactly which rock you're going to step on, but you trust that there's going to be something to step on as you run across, but you need momentum. So it's about trusting yourself to be able to deal with whatever happens. And that may be part of the link to the past, where somewhere you talk to yourself about, well, you're not good enough to manage a situation or something, or somebody told you that. So it's really about feeling your own sense of trust about yourself and that everything will work out okay because you have everything you need. I don't know if that makes any.
no, it makes a lot of sense. And if you look at the overall characteristics or which basically you guys are, because this is my scan from, these scans are from my last rear end. That's really overall the picture that I didn't realize it then, but I do realize it now, being in the present moment, that that's really what biocoherence is mirroring back to me. And I always tell myself, well, I'm real handy. I'm real handy. Well, some things I'm not, but for the most part, I am pretty handy, with electronics and, carpentry and all kinds of stuff. I'm
Sure.
real handy. Yeah, I mean, I
Yes,
like to
but
build
we
houses.
we all have blind spots, so.
Yeah.
And I'm happy, Frederick, that you use the word momentum, because that's exactly how I designed the momentum screen. Because we can have restraints, but we can also have things moving us forwards. So you can also work on these things that allow you to move forward, to lift everything else. So it's a very important screen to work on, the momentum screen.
Yeah, which also refers to flow.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
If you stop and try to figure out which rock you're going to step on or what you're going to do next,
Yeah.
the momentum isn't there to help you.
Mm.
So I think momentum and flow go together.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll
everybody,
be watching you jump across the stream when we get there. When you come out of the hotel, you go to the left, and there's a little stream there, and you got to jump across the rocks.
yeah, there's a path down there. In fact, last year I took the Kayanite a pendant that I was wearing, which it really attracted me. But when one of the women there, I think her name was Samantha, and anyway, she stopped right away and she said, "That's not good for you." And she proved it with her geomancy uh, dowsing. It spun counter her dowsing the down anyway, spun like an helicopter blade counterclockwise. She says, "Well, you need to take that off and give it back to the earth." So what did I do? I took it off the chain, went down to the river, and dropped it in the river.
Mm-hmm.
It helped. That helped. That actually helped me release some of the jet lag I was feeling.
Did you step in the river with your bare
Oh
feet?
yes, yes. And
Bloody cold.
it is. It's very cold. And also, I walked barefoot, especially when we were working with Ralph, barefoot when he was doing his geomancy. And yeah, that was I try to stick my feet in the grass or something every day for at least, I don't know, sometimes it's only 5 minutes in passing, but I try to do it for at least a half hour a day.
That was an amazing experience with Ralph when we all stopped and we were all 0.618 distance apart from each
Oh,
other.
yeah, that was really amazing.
It was interesting. Anyway, all right, folks.
Well, anyway, everybody, thank you. I will be seeing you guys, some of you soon, and some of you maybe not till I get back from France. But today I've got so many things. I've got to button up loose ends because I fly out tomorrow morning. Anyway, love you all. Thank you for your wisdom, wisdom noted and accepted, and we will catch up with everybody when we see you all next.
Yeah, and see you in France in 2 days.
Frederick, can I ask you a question that I think I asked you before?
Okay.
That I don't know, I don't understand it quite, but I went into my priorities.
Okay.
In the priorities, let me see if I can open this up. In my priorities, I go to organs, and it's a whole bunch of stuff that is learning and all that. Then I go to meridians, and then I go to the TCM points, and there is 3 of them which are called resources
Okay.
in my priorities. So I don't understand why I have resources in my priorities.
It can happen because the algorithm is not exactly the same to identify resources and to identify priorities. It doesn't mean that it will be the resource used to heal your particular priorities. It means that these items are interesting to consider right now in your current exploration, and their petal state is resource, meaning that they have high energy and low agitation. But apart from that, they can have, for instance, a lack of links with other items, or they can have a very loose control attention, or they can have an undefined, not well-defined intention, or things like that, that also come into the algorithm to define from the 1,500 biomarkers, which one will come into your priorities. So you can definitely have priorities that have the petal state resource, but other things that are maybe interesting to consider right now.
Would those be automatically put into the harmonic boost?
Yes. So everything that you see on the priority screen is automatically put into your harmonic boost and into your personal guide. And if you disagree with it, as we said several times, you are the expert, and this is only an algorithm. So as much as the algorithm is interesting and probably pinpoints interesting things and so on, it's only an algorithm. So if you want to change your priorities, you are perfectly allowed to change everything, because ultimately you are building your own monthly exploration, and you can add things if you want to, and you can remove things if you want to. That's why you can edit this page. So what I would suggest is you do a recording, you see the automatic priorities, and you browse them, and you see which one you are relating to and which one you are not, and you decide if you want to keep them or not. So just read the text. When you click on the biomarker, it will open the biomarker window, and there under the biomarker, you have the beginning of a text. If you click on it, you will have a few pages of text that are specific to this biomarker, and it will tell you what this particular acupuncture point is usually used for. And maybe there you will recognize something that speaks to you. In that case, just keep it. And if you say, okay, I don't really feel concerned by what this acupuncture point is about, you can safely remove it and replace it by anything else if you want.
So I was looking, for example, at some of my resources, and you have, my heart valve on the left upper side. Like, how, how does the algorithm figure out such detail about which part of the heart is in, as a resource and which is not? It's just amazing how you can.
Okay, so we have something like 460 different organs, which we call structures. So it's in the biomarker structures. And for each of these organs, we have several ways of assessing them. And it comes mostly from a multi-level analysis of the electrical recordings that we do with the sensor. So each of these organs have different energetic structure imprints that we can check in your recording and assess. And when we have done this recording with the terms, we are recording a lot of different frequencies across time, and we analyze how each of these frequencies are moving, and each of these different organs have a different set of frequencies. So we can actually extract them not from only one frequency, but from a set of different frequencies. And we analyze not only the frequencies, but other things like the phase, so the rotation of things, and so on. So that's how we have the rotation speed of each structure.
Rotation.
Yeah, when you see the cycles, the cycles, it's actually an analysis of the frequency rotation, not only the frequencies by themselves, but it's a kind of reconstruction of how the energy is rotating through space. When you have a polarized light, for instance, it means that the light is not only coming in front of you in a wave at a specific frequency, but it's also rotating. Okay, and you can filter the light according to their rotation phase, and that is another thing that we analyze in the app. Not only the frequency, so it means, for instance, a very low frequency or a very high frequency. That would be the frequency, but then you have the rotation that could be very low or that could be very high. and turning like that, you know. So it's another
How
part.
do you know which is the good one and which is, you know, if it's turning high, it's good. If it's turning low, it's bad. Like,
No, it's not. It's not as simple. But I was explaining how we extract the data from just one recording and how we have so many different biomarkers at the end. So it's a lot of different mathematical analysis that are tied to exactly how these different structures are resonating into our body. And these structures have some known resonant frequencies or other characteristics like that that we can extract from the recording. So that's how we can go down to your left arterial valve or I don't know what.
known from what bank of knowledge? Like whoever analyzed the fact that if, you know, my left ventricle is rotating so much in a sine wave, I can understand how you get the data. How do you translate the data into you know, coherence or energy, or you know, how do you assess that it's actually a priority and not a resource?
Okay, so you are speaking about the different level of analysis, and I'm sorry, Laura, but we are very intellectual and mathematically speaking, and not very intuitive on this one.
I love it because the waves
Yeah.
and the mood,
Yeah.
you know, how the word or
Yeah.
how the world sounds too, right?
Okay, so this is kind of the spin or the polarization of the wave that turns like that. Okay.
All the polarization. Oh, I see. Well,
Yeah.
right, which is yeah.
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 No, it's actually very interesting, and it's also actually very visual when you understand wave mechanics like that. It becomes quite simple, you know. Even if we have billions of calculations, we have to get a kind of intuitive grasp of what is happening behind the wheel.
Yeah. If it's rotating clockwise or counterclockwise, could be a factor.
Not in this system, but maybe it could. So I wouldn't stop at one single variable like that. When we compute the resources and priorities, we are taking millions of different variables to compute a score at the end. And what we did is that we gathered all of this into the coherence score, and this coherence score should be much more interesting for you to know if something is a priority or a resource, because it doesn't only take the petal color or energy or thing like that, but everything that you see on the biomarker panel goes into this coherence score. And so to answer your question, the first step is to get the frequencies and the resonances and so on from your recording. The second step is to compute all of these biomarkers into a second level analysis somehow. And the third step is to compute the links between all of this and again and again. And at the end, we have all this information that you can see on the biomarker panel. Which is not only the energy, which would be the first step, or the agitation, which will be the second step, but more accurate data. And when we have all of this data, we know that so the raw electricity that we measure is one information, but we can extract how your particular organ is moving across the recording. And when we have this information, we have some specific data on the different resonance frequencies of your specific organ. So not the resonant frequencies that we use to extract its data from the recording, but the way it moves. So maybe it moves like 2 times per second, or maybe its main energy is more moving like 2 times per minute, and the energy would be much slower, okay? Or maybe it's a very agitated organ that vibrates quickly, okay? This information can, I show it in a very simple way, but we have maybe 30 different moving variables for each of these different organs. And then we compute how they move all together, and we extract some of those resonances. And we can compare them across all the different organs that we have, all the different acupuncture points, all the different meridians, you know. And when we compare the whole organ family, and we know that this organ has a frequency, for instance, of 0.02 hertz. And this one too.
How do we know that? How do we know that?
Because we make a third or fourth order analysis of how the organ is moving across your recording. So we extract the data, and from this data that you can see in the biomarker tab, if you click on the how is it called?
That's not really the question. The question is, how do you know what is the healthy frequency? What is the baseline to say that something is healthy or not healthy?
We don't.
How do you know?
And that's very interesting. We don't have any absolute value in biocoherence. We only have relative values to each other because we are in a systems theory analysis, and we don't analyze anything according to a common baseline. So we will not be able to say, okay, your heart is in this shape and it should be in this shape. We will say, okay, your heart is not communicating enough with other organs, and we can see that. So we want to work on your heart. Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah. Sure.
You know, it's not positive or negative. So you're looking at, is it good or is it bad? And what happens with all the algorithms that are being analyzed and all that, we have all the opportunities to do the analysis, and then they have all these protocols and the frequencies are there to do all these different things that address what the system says. The body will only take what it needs to create its own homeostasis.
Yeah.
So it's looking for its own balance. And so that's why you can load as many as you want on there, but your body's only going to take what it needs. And the healing is only going to happen sometimes it'll happen quickly because you open that blockage. But other times when you have damage to cells and things like that, you know, it could take 90 days at least for some of these cells to turn over, and real damage could take as long as a year or something to be able to let regeneration happen. And so the stimulation that's coming from all the frequencies is helping to let the body go back into balance. And so it's not good or it's not bad, but it helps you to look at all these options that we have, and your intuition can help you get into it. But then you have to be an active participant in your healing, because it's not going to do everything for you.
Yeah. And I must add that the very high specificity of biocoherence is that we are focused on recreating links between items that are not linked and should be linked. So that's why we go so far into this analysis, and that's why I needed to not only make a frequency analysis, but go 1, 2, 3, or 5 or 6 levels higher to extract really meaningful data that we cannot get in the first analysis. You know, in systems theory, there is this concept of emergent properties that each time you do so, you build a complex system from simple parts, you get some emergent properties that do not exist in the smaller parts, but that appear as if by magic on the upper level. And I think we spoke about that last week. That's why we need to do all of this complex analysis, because the equivalent of emergent properties when we do an analysis on top of something that is already analyzed is that we get some new information that we could not get if we only stayed on the level below. So that's how we compute the links. And when we compute the links, it's a very important part of the coherence score, because if an organ, for instance, needs to receive a lot of energy because it's low in energy, but it doesn't have a lot of links, it means that it will be a higher priority because it is not well connected to other organs that could potentially help it. So that's one of the things that allows the biocoherence algorithm to put structures into your priorities and resources.
I mean, but at some point there is a good and bad involved. I mean, like, I'm trying to reduce the swelling in my eye.
Yeah.
And if that works, that's good.
Yes, sure.
You know, if the swelling gets worse because of it, then it's not good. So there is the thing, the way that I understand it is that the base frequency of my good eye is the way it should be on my left eye. So there's a point of comparison, and I'm presuming that the scan will identify that this eye has some frequencies that are out of whack, and they're going to put back the proper frequency that will create a healthy form.
That would be a kind of first level analysis answer to say, okay, I'm reading some frequencies and I'm feeding you back some frequencies, and we just care about that, and maybe it might work. But we are going much higher. And as I said, because everything we do is looking the system globally. Your eye is not just only a malfunctioning frequency. Your eye is a complex system that has a lot of exchanges with other organs and with your mind and with, I don't know, past traumas or anything. So it's a complex system made of very, very different links and things. And we are trying to bring back all these links into balance. And it might be because you built up this in the last 60 years, for instance, and it has been a very long process, and now it has somehow crystallized into something that is unhealthy. It means not working as it should. Okay, your eye is somehow.
Actually, it's not the eye. The eye is working amazingly. It's the tumor behind the
Yes.
eye.
Okay. So what I mean is that you have one part of your body that is not working as it should, and it impedes your whole system somehow.
Right.
But it's somehow connected to your whole system because there are a lot of different things that made that you came to this conclusion, and your body somehow found this solution to create this swelling, to balance something that wasn't balanced at another point. Okay.
Right.
And so we have to somehow untangle the big, very solid knot that you built since you were born and since you had these experiences and so on. So we have to find a way to unknot all this and to enter this and to slowly and thread by thread make it clean again. So if it doesn't come in just one snap, it's maybe because it's very strong. It's a very strong knot, and we have to find the way to enter into this knot. And when you have a very strong knot, and if you do a very strong knot and you put it in water and you try to untangle it,
Untangle it.
yes, it's very complicated. So you have to find the one that will move and slowly find a way to make it move and remove it. And it's a long process. So that's what we do when we find priorities. We try to identify which are the threads that can move into your knots and where to start from. And maybe your tumor problem is right in the center, a very, very strong thing, but there are a lot of things around it that prevents it to move. So we have to find the things that prevent it to move and untangle the knot.
Remember when I said
Damn thing out.
with you, Frederick? That might have been that they found that one string that one day. It was so strong that it's like healing now, but it's also like, does your left foot on the bottom have like a sore spot on it somewhere that like almost zaps you sometimes?
Left foot on the bottom of my left foot.
Does there ever like when all of a sudden it'll just be like you'll be driving your car or something, and all of a sudden you'll get this zzz kind of a feel? You could be doing anything. You could be
I actually had that on my toe.
yeah. So do you remember where? Which toe?
No. Yeah, the big toe.
Okay, so then rub that big toe with like some kind of an oil. Jeffrey, what kind of oil would be good? To like get things moving, like to like detoxify or to like
Well,
unwind.
oregano oil might be one to consider. Because it's gonna go in and all your you know, if you look at the bottom of your feet with all the meridian pathways that are there, it's going to go up and eventually go to the liver. There's where all your inflammation and stuff like that. The emotional stuff that I picked up on what was happening was to, you know, in the past, incoming on your left side, what didn't you want to see for so long that's been stuck there for a long time that still needs healing. And that's deep in a trauma and an emotional thing. Could have been in one of your relationships with wife, mother, something coming in.
Right. But isn't the left thigh more about father than mother?
Uh,
I see it.
Because I have a trauma with my mother asking me to take on some super responsibilities at a very young age that I was not ready for.
At 11,
At 7, 6,
what happened at 11?
and at 11.
what what month were you born and what day?
February 4th, 52.
He's right at 7, but it was 6 years old.
6, yeah, it was 6. It was really more 6 that it happened. You're right. 7, we were already leaving. Yeah.
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 And then at 12 years old, it amplified. Something else happened. And then double those numbers and look at what's happening over your life. If you start
24.
and all your sixes and add them all up to if you're 60, what happened at 60? When did you start getting the
60 is when I had the surgery. 59, yeah, my first.
Okay, so there you go. If you start looking at those numbers and if you go back to the healing of the traumas that happened to you in your youth, they multiply and build up. It's like feelings buried, never really die. They start festering and they might
Mhm.
take a whole lifetime before they start manifesting like that. And these are still things in this life that you can heal traumas that go all the way back down to there and even heal your mother and ancestors who aren't even here anymore. So, and the future generations. So when we fix things, we fix our children, we fix our ancestors, because there's really beyond time and space, you know. God is a miracle worker at helping us go to these things. And if you just look at what you were so traumatized from that, what think about those things in that moment. And something else I do is I take my thumb and my middle finger and I put it on my temples and I try to go back to the moment of those traumas and sit there and just breathe into them and then just back up to how did I feel before any of that happened. And so sometimes you can reset um, where that trauma came from and cancel out the track. It's a track or a trigger in your subconscious that keeps repeating itself subtly throughout your life in different ways. And so things that you didn't see that reminded you of that situation in your subconscious.
So did you say double it or add 6 each time? It's so 6,
Well,
12,
look at, yeah,
18 or 6 till 24?
just keep going. You can divide them and just add sixes and look at different periods of your life of where those that 6 or a 3, it could be 6 and a 3. So where are your traumas? If you can start identifying where the key traumas were in your life, those numbers start making sense based just on your birth day and month, not the year. And then
Interesting.
and just go backwards, you know, go right even into the womb. For me, it was actually things that happened to my mother carrying me because my father abandoned my mother pregnant with me. And so traumas go all the way back. So it's like looking at how they multiply in our life. And whenever I ask clients, a lot of times when I'm looking at them to see where their traumas lie, and then when we're looking in biocoherence to see where the traumas lie too in the emotional body, think some things to think about would maybe be looking at some of those kind of numbers. And it's really weird, but it's rare that I'm not accurate when I ask them when I see what their birth number is. You know, it's like, and you may have to cut it in half or you know into quarters or something to figure out
Right.
traumas are, but once you find it, you got these numbers that you can look at and look at their life of where certain things happened to them. Where were the biggest things that happened to you that you didn't see coming? Shocks that you just didn't see coming. And
Yeah.
there are things that you want to just write down and say, okay, gosh, I got a pile of those. And then when you start working your way back to what did they have in common, that's when I do over the forehead and try to go back, really feel the pain or how you felt emotionally in that moment. And then what did you feel like before that happened? And then try to bring that back and find that moment of joy or how you were feeling before that trauma happened. And then that could be stronger and outweigh what the trauma was, and that can, in your subconscious mind, cancel that out.
Yeah.
And
Or
rep-
replace it.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to fill that void with something. Love, God, Holy Spirit, bring it in.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Can you teach how to do that number stuff? I wanna remember.
He took my month and my day,
Just start intuitive, Laura. You'll
February 4th.
Yeah.
No, that's why I need, what do you mean, month and day? Like mine's 126. How do you do that? 126.69.
So don't do 69. It's 27. And then cut it in half.
That's a 9.
Yeah. And cut it in half. Yeah. Find where was it where trauma started to happen to you. And a lot of it is in those first few years of your life where the key traumas of your life kind of happen. And when you look at those is what goes on. So for Laura, 27. Forget the year. The year is not the number. It's your month, your day. And then look at that. And at 27, you can say, well, what happened at 27? But it probably happened way before that. So cut that in half and maybe even cut that in half again to look at what some of the childhood traumas were. Maybe something happened at school,
13.
number of things like that, or
6.
what happened. Yeah. So, and then when you start looking at that, you'll start seeing.
Yeah, I know what happened at 13. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Fred.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Which, yeah, I've worked that out already, but that's awesome.
So I got it from a French book that was converted to English, and it was on an ancestral. Oh gosh. Uh,
Those friends.
every now and then. It's kind of a boring book, but it has a lot of history of what happens to people and their ancestries and stuff. And I have a lot in our ancestry, so that's why my friend from England sent me the book, and so I pull it out every now and then when I get confused about the numbers, and I'm going, yeah, that makes sense. It does.
Can you share the book?
I will. I'll get it out and shoot you a photo.
I'm going to come and stay with you for like a month or two, just so you know. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to come learn from you. And Frederick, please rub that big toe while you listen to your frequencies.
Okay, I'm going to try to remember because I had a couple of strange, I'm not sure exactly where it happened.
So, Frederick,
I'm going to locate it.
the web of your toe goes to your eyes right in here. So if you look in your toes, the web right as your big toe and next toe right in there, your eyes be right in those first few areas right there. And see when you really work that in there on your toe, you might feel some tenderness, and you can also do it on your hands, but that would be areas where you could take your thumbs and just kind of really work on those areas to help the inflammation. Because that fascia, remember we're talking about fascia.
Yeah.
Stuff like that too, and you have lymphatics back in there and stuff.
Right.
So did they?
I just realized in this conversation that I've been thinking it's about my eye, but it's not about my eye actually. It's about the tumor because my eye, amazingly, I still see well. I don't see double. So my eye has been the fucking hero
Yeah.
because it's being pushed by this tumor, which started in the brain. So I have to see more about the source of the tumor rather than the eye,
So did they say,
which is interesting difference.
was it lymphatic?
No,
Yeah.
it's called a sphenoid, it's called a sphenoid a meningioma.
Mm.
And it grew and it pushes pressure on the eyeball, which then blocks the lymphatic drainage and the venal drainage. The venous, not the veins don't drain, and that's why it swells. It's not really the eye; it's that mass behind it that keeps very slowly growing. So I haven't identified the cause of that. It happens to be in the eye, but it's probably not, or in the orbit, actually. The problem was in the orbit, and the tumor grew into the bone of the orbit. So it's an interesting, in talking to you all, I realized that the focus is not the eye, it's what is the tumor growing from.
And what happened at 6 where you felt pushed? Or
It's a huge thing. We were in a communist country, and my parents had to survive by doing stuff on the black market, like sewing sweaters. And my father would buy yarn, stolen yarn, and travel across to home. And my mother would knit the sweaters in the basement. And then she said to me, honey, I love you, but I want you to know that I'm going to work in the basement. And if you ever see an inspector come by, you better let me know, because if they find me, they're going to take me to prison with your father. And so I had this enormous responsibility to save my family, and I had no idea what an inspector looked like or when they were coming. So it was like a major, like, anxiety about me being responsible for my family not going to prison. And I had no tools or power to know what they looked like. But I recently had the vision of my mother talking to me in Hungarian, wearing a specific dress, which I hadn't seen before. It was like such a clear memory. And so I understood where it came from for the first time about a year ago.
no,
So, how long did that take? Why is it